Good evening everyone, hope you're well. Anytime Notebook Time, my name is Gavin for Wheeler Betting UK. Let's rattle through them this week. We'll start off Scunthorpe versus Notts County. Scunthorpe versus Notts County. Mark Robbins has come in as we thought he would do. Steadied the ship. A couple of draws, one at Colchester, one at Port Vale. Would have been my idea of an half-decent bet this weekend, but for the absence of Neil Bishop and Jennison Myro Williams, particularly Bishop, who misses out through suspension after 5 yellow cards, and Myro Williams saw a red card in the midweek draw at Vale. They host Notts County, so attention's turned to them. Sean Derry doing a really good job there. We get no better clue as to how they'll set up than how they set up in that win at Barnsley in midweek, which we'll talk about from a Barnsley perspective in a second. We're going to put up Mike Petrasso, 9-2. Looks a really decent price for a player coming off scoring 2 goals, can play anywhere across that front line. Looks good on the break, nice and pacey. Looks, similar kind of profile to that game midweek. So I'll gladly put him up at 9-2. We'll stay in the division. Let's talk about Barnsley then. Host Bristol City this weekend. Originally thought this looked like a decent month for Danny Wilson, but he's had a couple of defeats. They certainly turn the tables in terms of goals scored. They look pretty prolific at the moment. Some good players in some good form. We're decent in a 2-1 loss at Posh a couple of weeks back in my notes, and really should have been kind of out of sight against Notts County midweek before County came back. Really decent comeback there to take the 3 points. Certainly think they can breach this Bristol City back line, who haven't seen a clean sheet for the best part of a month and a half. Still continue to score, and I'm thinking it may catch up with them eventually. This scoring 4 and conceding a few or whatever it may be. So certainly think a Barnsley side that looking good attacking form can cause Bristol City some problems this weekend. There's loads of good players that you could pick from here. I'm going to pick Devante Cole, who looks the pick at the prices for me, 13-5, probably over someone like Conor Hourhan or Sam Winnell over at the top. He looks like he's got 2 in 2, looks in good form. Just at the pick of the prices, he looks the one for me. But I definitely think Barnsley can find a goal or 2 this weekend, so that could be an angle. We'll head down for the last bet into League 2 then. A little note about Tranmere. This was a match report I was keen to see after their game at Mansfield, because Mickey Adams has come in. I cannot emphasise enough what a good manager I think Mickey Adams is. Didn't get a fair crack of the whip at our place. Done a really good job at Port Vale. Let's not underestimate getting that Port Vale side promoted from this division a couple of years back was no easy task. Overachieved beyond belief, I think, last year. Port Vale were verging on a playoff run at some points in the second half of last season. Lost his job after some pretty awful results at the start of this season, but you always felt that it weren't going to take much of a bad run of form for him to lose his job at Vale. And I think in Tranmere he's found a really decent fit. As most commentators suggested after that 0-0 draw with Mansfield, Tranmere showed a real big improvement to what they'd seen before, and that will do me. Mickey Adams came out after the game, said about the focus should be on goals. He says he's had a decent week on the training pitch, which is good news for me. That Tranmere goal record is looking pretty awful. I think that is priority number 1 for Adams, which I think provides an angle, for us to address this weekend. They head to Wimbledon, who are inconsistent at best. I wouldn't put you off the Tranmere prices at all this weekend. He's brought in a couple, so Namslay's coming from Chesterfield, and the lad that I'm going to put up this weekend is Danny Johnson, who's on loan from Cardiff, scored a whole host of goals last year in non-league. For a Tranmere side who I think are focused on getting off the mark when it comes to goals and starting this Mickey Adams tenure nice and properly. Let's back them to score this weekend and do it through Danny Johnson at 13-5. He sits with Devante Cole at 13-5 for Barnsley, and we'll put up Mike Petrasso on loan from Orient at Notts County as they head to Scunthorpe. Whatever you're backing this weekend, have a good one, have a profitable one, and I'll see you on the other side.